G'day and welcome to ReDriven. Now, Germany have built something of a reputation for giving far too much power to certain people, resulting in serious chaos. And no, I'm not referring to some moustached lunatic from the 1930s and 40s. I'm talking about handing certain people keys to cars like the AMG E53S. Sure, the E63S's immense amount of power does make sense on a German autobahn, but here in Australia, with our authorities' enthusiasm for handing out speeding tickets and luxury car taxes, a 600 horsepower, $250,000 sedan just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Which brings us to this, the AMG E53, 430 horsepower, around about $170,000 when new. This thing makes a whole lot more sense. Or does it? Especially now that this isn't new anymore, this one's actually a few years old. Is it actually any good? Like, what goes wrong with it? Is it reliable? What's it like to live with on a daily basis? Is it worthy of its AMG badging? And most importantly, should you buy one? Let's find out. Now, before we get deep into the E53, can you please do us a favor and hit those like, subscribe, and bell icon buttons? And after the video, go and check us out on all the socials. Now, the E53 actually replaced the E43 back in 2018, and this is still a current model, although it has just received a complete midlife refresh. Actually, the entire E-Class has got some new aesthetics and some extra equipment and features. Now, if you want an E-Class AMG in a coupe or a cabriolet, you're going to have to get an E53 because, very unlike Mercedes and their 7,000 different models, they don't do a coupe or cabriolet in the E63. Now, unlike the E63S with its fire-breathing twin-turbo V8, the E53 is fitted with a single-turbo straight 6 and Mercedes' tricky electric EQ boost starter alternator system, giving it a little bit more power but a huge dollop of extra torque. And look, we'll get to what the driving experience is like and how this engine's reliability is a little bit later in the video. Now, in this video, we will be focusing on the Australian variants of the E53, but if you're not from Australia or you're not in the Australian market, don't panic, don't freak out, because everything we're going to be going over should relate to E53s in your local market. Now, like all Mercedes, there are a whole bunch of different optional extras available for this car. And look, we'd love to go over every graphic detail of every extra and every update, but that would just take far too long. But we have gathered all that information and we put it in our handy ReDriven cheat sheets. Our cheat sheets are invaluable as they provide a full breakdown of the car's model range, its common problems, what you need to look out for before handing over your hard-earned cash, how much of that cash you should be handing over, and so much more. Check it out at redriven.com or in the link below. Now guys, if you are already an E53 expert or you own one of these cars and you've noticed that we've missed something in the video, please let us know in the comments section below. Like, we're doing our best to cover everything that we can, but we generally find it's the people that own these that are the true experts. So yeah, like, if we've missed something, let us know in the comments. And you know, please be nice, because you know, we read all the comments and we've got feelings too. So does it look good? Well look, I'm gonna be honest, I've always been a bit of a C63 fanboy because I've always found the E-Class just was a bit too big for my personal taste, but this thing, they have nailed the looks. I know it's subjective, but for me, exquisite. Like, it's still large enough to have some serious presence on the road, but maybe it's the AMG treatment, but for me, it just feels a bit more compressed and almost athletic, yet it's still like, it's super classy and sophisticated. Just on that sportier aesthetic, this particular car has been fitted with the optional sticker pack and the optional E63S style wheels. As far as quality on this particular car goes, unbelievably good. All the panel gaps on all the panels are precise and accurate. The paint is absolutely perfect. Even the way the doors sound when closing and opening, it just sounds so right. As far as common issues and problems go, look, there aren't many, but there are a couple. There are reports of the high beam assist either freaking out or failing. Most of the time, it's like crap or snow or dirt on the cameras and the sensors on the windscreen. If that gets cleaned off, it normally fixes the high beam. And if it isn't that, Mercedes should have covered it under warranty. Secondly, there are some reports of the panoramic roofs getting a bit rattly or squeaky. This particular car, and let's be honest, most E53s don't suffer from that problem. And even fixing it, it's generally just needing some lubrication on some of the mechanical components, or Mercedes should cover it under warranty. But yeah, look, honestly, so far so good for the exterior of the E53. So how's the interior? It is bloody lovely in here from every aspect. Like, the design is just stunning. I think okay, it's an expensive car, but I feel like this feels more expensive than what it actually is. All the textures, the use of the colors, like, yes, it's mainly black, but like this black ash timber look combined with the aluminium is bloody beautiful. It even smells It smells just right. This is gorgeous. Quality-wise and wear and tear-wise, like this car does get used pretty much on a daily basis. Again, incredible. All the leather, even on the steering wheel, the Alcantara on the steering wheel, all the leather feels absolutely premium. Quality-wise, all the panel gaps, like everything just feels great. All the switchgear, amazing. The way this opens, feels luxurious. The way this opens, feels luxurious. Okay, especially at night, this is just stunning. We'll put a photo up of what it looks like at nighttime. All the LED lights, you can change the colors, the brightness, where the colors are. At night, it's spectacular. If I had to be, okay, super picky, this car's got the optional beautiful sport seats, but the problem is when you actually sit down, it's a bit hard on your bum when you initially sit down before you actually kind of get in position. It's like it's a bit confronting for your bum until everything slides into place, and then you get used to it and it feels quite nice. I'm talking about getting in the seat, not anything else. As far as any common problems and issues go, there are reports that this sunglasses holder can get a bit squeaky. It's not really a common problem. When we went through all the forums and, you know, owner satisfaction reports, there's a couple of reports of that happening. This car, no squeak whatsoever. And also there are the occasional reports of some electronic gremlins here and there, but again, they're not common problems, and most of that should be fixed up under warranty. In the back seat, it is bloody lovely back here, just like the front seat. This is in my driving position. I'm this many talls and there's heaps of room. There's a little bit of a limit on foot room, but I've got pretty big feet. Heaps of knee room. These sports buckets, the optional sports buckets, I think actually give more leg room than the standard seats. Lots of shoulder space, lots of airy glass house area, heaps of headroom. It just feels so nice back here. As far as wear and tear goes, again, this feels like a new car. Again, like the front, the levels of squidge is great. The leather's wearing perfectly. Even the carpet feels good. This is such a nice place to be. How's the tech? It is incredible. Now, we're not going to go through every piece of tech in this car because that would literally take days. Most of the details are on the cheat sheet on redriven.com. So rather than going through everything, we're going to talk about what the tech's like to actually use. First up, the tech is dominated by these beautiful, you know, this wide screen display. There's actually two screens there, and they're not touch screens. And I love that they're not touch screens. I've said this in our videos before. There's something I find almost inherently dangerous with, as you're driving, trying to touch and aim and hit an icon on a screen rather than an actual physical button. But in this car, all of the screens, all the tech is controlled by physical buttons. You've got the rotary controller here, you've got a touchpad here. Touchpad, yes, I know, but it works differently. You can control it via the trackpads on the steering wheel, and which actually feels quite intuitive. It takes a little bit of getting used to, like any kind of tech, but once you're used to it, super easy to use. And you've got multiple places to push the same controls, so you can control a bunch of stuff via here, or via the steering wheel. It's really great to have the multiple kind of control surfaces rather than just having one screen that dominates everything, like say on a Tesla or a Volvo. You're so reliant on like aiming where that control or that configuration or that button is. With this, you know, I've got controls here, controls here, controls here, there's options. It's excellent. The overall interface itself is pretty easy to use. Like, again, it does take a little bit of getting used to, but once you're used to it, it's excellent. You can customize the looks of a bunch of different stuff. The connectivity with your phone is pretty much instant. Some of these cars have Apple CarPlay, some don't. Most have Apple CarPlay because most owners with this kind of budget will option Apple CarPlay. But overall, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you're used to it, bloody lovely. But I wonder how many owners are actually going to use the full ability of this system. Like, it's incredible what it does, but surely hardly anyone's actually going to use all of this. So while it's very impressive, it's maybe just a tad superfluous. So is it practical? Yes, it actually has one of the biggest boots in its class. Like, this loading lip here is a bit of a nightmare to get over, but that's being very picky. It's actually quite comfy back here. You have a little nap. Practicality in the back seat is good. You've got a couple of USB ports and a 12-volt power outlet down here. You've got some good sized door bins, and you've got this fabulous armrest, which is lovely, with some slow motion cup holders, and also some storage under here for a sandwich or even a toasty. And practicality up front, you've got a sunglasses holder up here, which doesn't squeak. You've got two cup holders down here and a spot for your phone, and also any spare AMG wheel badges. You've got a storage compartment here with horizontal barn door opening doors. Excellent size door bins. Oh, and a net down here, and a good size glove box. So what goes wrong with these? Well, it's an AMG, so surely it's the pinnacle of German engineering, right? I'm not a qualified mechanic, I can't answer that, but Jim is.
Righto, I dug deep on these things and I managed to get through Mercedes security, and I managed to talk to some pretty high up techs and some pretty high up spare parts people as well. And what I found was most of the stuff they're selling for these things is only service parts. They're really not selling any parts that have been repaired, even under warranty. So at the moment, they're proving to be pretty good. However, this is a really complex car. There's a lot of systems on this thing. Time will tell how reliable it turns out to be, and you can guarantee when they're not under warranty and when this stuff fails, it's probably going to be pretty expensive to fix. My tip as a mechanic is just to make sure anything you're looking at has got an impeccable service history. Make sure everything has been done and right up to date, and hopefully that'll save you a broken heart.
So is it safe? Look, calling this thing safe is possibly the understatement of the year. This is immensely safe. There's so much safety tech and safety equipment in this car. Again, it would take hours for me to go through every bit and piece of it. Most of the details are on the cheat sheet on ReDriven.com. But to give you a quick overview, here's me doing a voiceover. The E53's safety equipment includes ABS, EBD, brake assist, AEB, ESC, traction control, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, fatigue detection, a surround camera system, tyre pressure monitoring, traffic sign recognition, dual front and dual front side airbags, a knee airbag for the driver, plus full-length curtain airbags, and even a first aid kit. And because of all that, the E53 gets a full 5-star NCAP safety rating, so yes, it's incredibly safe. So what's it like to drive? Well, the driving experience, it just adds to the sense of wealth and prestige. It doesn't make you feel like you're just another rich wanker, but more like I've worked hard for this and I've made an intelligent yet luxurious decision. Even for those that sort of know they're around Mercedes cars, most people wouldn't know that you've spent $100,000 or potentially $100,000 less on this than you have on an E63S. So around town, look, it does feel like a little bit large, not in like an intimidating sort of way. It's easy to park, it's easy to maneuver in like tight driveways, but you are aware that it is a substantial car. The power and its delivery around town are just absolutely perfect. It's silky smooth, both transmission and power plant, silky smooth, and it even sounds good around town. And the different drive modes, they make a definite difference to the characteristic of the car. They're awesome. In comfort mode, it's what an E-Class should be. It's comfortable and luxurious and smooth and refined, but flick it into Sport or Sport Plus, and this whole other car appears while still being the same car. It's Jekyll and Hyde in personality with that button. Okay, this might not have the fire-breathing V8 of its big brother E63S, but drop a couple of gears. Second gear, here we go. Yeah, it's rapid, very rapid. I actually think this is more fun than an E63S, and let me explain. See, I had an E63S as a press car for a couple of weeks when it got released a little while ago. And look, don't get me wrong, it's ballistically fast. But the problem is, at least here in Australia, because of our authorities' kind of nanny state attitude towards enthusiastic driving, and that car's ability to throw you at the horizon with such ferocity and force, every time you flex that right foot, you're instantly into real legal issues kind of territory. With this car, because it's got a bit less power, you have the ability to drive it harder. E63S, you can't really drive it hard because you're going to go to jail, and it's constantly in the back of your mind that you're going to have to call your lawyer at any moment. With this car, you can actually kind of get into it and have a proper go without, turning up in court the next day. Also, the engine in this, it doesn't steal the show because the whole car is sorted. Everything works harmoniously together. It's not just about the engine and straight line performance. It's just bloody lovely. The ride quality, even on these truly crap country roads, is fantastic. It absorbs everything so nicely, and the traction out of corners with its all drive system, just fantastic. It even has its own soundtrack. Okay, look, yes, some of that is getting plumbed through this phenomenal stereo system, but you know what? I just don't care. It sounds so good. I don't care that it's coming through the speakers. It just all adds to the whole experience. Brilliant driving experience. Even after a few years and a few thousand kilometers, there's no rattles, there's no squeaks. Even on the freeway, there's barely any wind or road noise. This thing just does driving in almost any scenario and situation so incredibly well. If I had to be ultra picky. The steering is a little bit light and vague, but that's just me being a wanker. So is it worthy of the AMG badge? Well, from a driving perspective, 100% yes. Pricing here in Australia kicks off from around about $130,000 and tops out at around about $150,000. But considering that these things brand new with on-road costs here in Australia cost around about $180,000, buying a used one means you can save yourself like 50,000 bucks. So you could buy a brand new one of these from a Mercedes dealership or a used one of these and have enough money left over to go and buy yourself a Porsche Boxster for the weekends. Also for pricing in the US and the UK, here's a graphic. Mercedes have a claimed fuel consumption figure of anywhere between 8.7 to 9.2 litres per 100 kilometres, but that's being pretty optimistic because on this test, we're seeing figures of 10.3. Mercedes initially offered a 3-year unlimited kilometre warranty on all E53s, but that was extended to 5 years as of last year, so all cars from last year now have 5-year warranties. But even that's a bit disappointing because Kia offer a 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and even Tesla, they offer an 8-year 160,000 kilometre warranty. Servicing is recommended at every 12 months or 25,000 kilometres. And we should also mention that Mercedes have a certified used car program, which brings with it some factory warranty support, obviously on Mercedes certified used cars. So should you buy one? Look, I'm going to be honest, this is quite potentially one of the most overall complete cars I've ever experienced. It perfectly balances luxury with performance. It's genuinely practical and it's loaded with tech. It's supremely safe, yet an absolute joy to drive. It's even really good value for what it is and what it does. Okay, look, it's still too soon to make any judgment call on long-term reliability and longevity. And yes, these things are going to depreciate, but as long as you're mentally and financially prepared for that, yes, you should definitely buy one. Even if you're in the market for an E63S, make sure you go and drive one of these things first, because unless you're spending all day with your foot to the floor on an autobahn, well, here in Australia at least, this thing makes the E63S feel way too expensive. Thank you so much for watching, and hey, what did you think of the E53? Let us know in the comment section below. And remember, can you please hit those like, subscribe and bell icon buttons, and go and follow us on all the socials. See you next time. Okay, look, whoa, that was a good start. Yeah, okay, here we go. Okay, look, it's probably still terrible. Mercedes have a, Mercedes, is that geese? What's with animals and us? Ducks, geese? Anyway, good to go. Can you hear the geese? Mercedes, start. 3-year unlimited kilometre warranty on all E53s, which is, you bastard, here we go. Why won't it open? I'm trying to open it, but it won't open. Servicing is recommended at whoa, too fast. And no, I'm not referring to some whoa, that was weird, okay. And no, I'm not referring, and now, bloody kookaburras. Jesus. Welcome to Australia. Also, there are reports of the panoramic roof like rattling and even fucking kookaburras. Jesus. Again, a problem that the Americans don't have. This particular car, and look, most E53s don't suffer from that problem, but they're, Why now? Okay, good to go?